Well, a big hello to you. It's great to see you. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jennifer Kirk, welcoming you up here to the loft on Weir Yard. And today, actually, it's something very, very different from what we've normally been doing. I've actually been improving the lighting up here on Weir Yard, and it's one of the areas which, from the outset when I built it, the lighting always felt a little bit like an afterthought. Now I do have three powerful LED spotlights, and they're just immediately above me, and they're actually what's illuminating me now. But the rest of the layout has kind of suffered a little bit, and the reason for this is that we've got purlins that go round, and they've kind of shaded the rest of the layout, and with the angle of the roof it's just been really difficult to get light right down into the model and make it look like it's, properly lit, like sunshine. Now I've had some kind of little lights which have just been scrounged from the shed when we had Trinity Road, and they've not been very good, it has to be honest. They've sort of done the job, but on camera what I've always seen is that it looks a little bit dingier than I would have liked. And then the cupboard monkey came to me with a product which she'd found in Wilkinson's, of all places. Now I'm sure you can find them elsewhere, and I'm going to show you this product so that you can see it, and hopefully you might find this in kind of bric-a-brac hardware type stores that exist all over the world. It's certainly a great product, and I can't imagine that it is exclusive just to Wilkinson's in the UK. Now this is the product here. I'm just going to show you that, and they're actually a colour changing LED strip, but the colour changing, forget about that, because that's really just if you want some interesting effects in a room somewhere. What you actually want is the bright white lights, and what I found with these is that they are more than adequate for properly illuminating the layout. And actually they're much less obtrusive as well. I've actually fastened them to the underside of the purlin, so from where I'm sat here now I can't actually see them. I can see their effect, but I can't see the lights. And that again is really important, because the lights themselves will tend to dazzle you and become a distraction if they're in plain sight. So these are perfect for this kind of installation, and actually they go a long way as well. They come on a big reel, and we'll talk about that as we go into the video. But I bought three thinking that I would need three, and actually two was more than enough. Now they are trimmable as well, so you can make them any length that you want, and you can also join multiple strips together, but I'm going to delve into all of this in today's video for a little bit of a progress on Weir Yard, but also showing you just how I improved the lighting up here. So come with me in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, and we've got some links down below to their UK and European stockists. Support for today's video also comes from PD Models, makers of an amazing range of 3D printed detailing kits and models in a host of different scales and gauges that really do bring some customization and style to your model layout. So go and check them out today and tell them that Jenny sent you. But without further ado, let's take a look at today's little project. This is the area of Weir Yard that doesn't normally get seen a lot in videos, and actually it was normally quite dark and dingy. But this new product that I found that is probably super saturating the picture up here is this LED strip. Now you can still see one of the old bulbs in the corner, but if I come back so that you can see we're not getting blinded by that light, it actually does really light up this area quite nicely. And I'm sure a lot of you have already found this product, but I haven't really seen anybody talk about it all that much online. At £15 a roll, each roll does give you probably about 10 feet, maybe a little bit more. And what I have actually found is that there's a bit of variety between different rolls of this lighting strip, so it depends who's probably packed it at the factory as to whether you get a very generous tightly wound reel or a bit of a stingy loosely wound one. But before I talk about that, I've also been hard at work with some of the War World Scenics resin walling. And you can see down here, this is an area where beforehand it was just the ballast went up to the bank and there was just nothing to separate the countryside from the tracks. And War World Scenics were very kind to send me a whole selection of their resin walling, which just comes in pieces and it's quite rigid out of the box. But I actually found them very, very easy to use and quite effective. What you see here has been shaped to fit the topography, and then it's been painted with some light grey paint, weathered up, and then some static grass, again from the War World Scenics range, just applied behind it. And I think it does really improve this area quite a lot. The whole outlook of the layout has been massively improved. And one of the areas when you film a model layout, lighting is critical. And what I've usually found is that if the lighting is off, then things can look quite dark and dingy. This, however, with the LED strip, you can see all the way around the layout. There's no bright spots, no dark spots. All the shadows are removed, and you can see all of the detail all the way up to the corner. Two of the boxes were enough to do the entirety of Weir Yard, such as the length that you get within, and I actually found them really quite easy to install. The package itself is just this fairly rigid box that you can see here, and it comes with everything you need for the installation. As I said before, if you want more than one of these strips, if you've got a very large layout like Weir Yard, it's actually really quite easy to connect two strips together to work off one plug socket, and they all work from the same remote, so each of the remotes is universal to these LED strips. So even though you get a remote in every single one of these packs, if you're connecting the leads together, or even if you don't, one press from any remote will operate all of the strips. Now, they are fairly well energy rated. They come in as an A+, and the thing about these is that the lights that they're replacing, I had about 7, even though they were LED bulbs, but they were drawing a lot more than what these strips draw. The other thing about that is you need a lot of plug sockets. So I've already started stripping out some of the unneeded lighting, and it's freed up loads of plug sockets, and I just feel that it's a much neater installation. It says on the box that you get 5 meters, but as I said before, I think that's very much a minimum, and I felt that you were getting a lot more than that with some of these boxes. So I'm just going to open this up, and just some packaging in there. We've got our strip of LED lights in the silver foil packing. We've got our power transformer. This is also what you will point the remote control at. You can see the remote control there as well. And then we've also got the main power supply, as some people call it, the wall wart. And then there's also some instructions. And if you're going to join together two strips, you can use this plastic piece here just to press them together. Now, I also found that just for peace of mind, I soldered mine together as well, and then just used this clip just to keep everything secure. But you don't have to solder them. You can use this just to press the strips together. It also means that if you trim a strip too short and decide that actually you want to put some of the missing segments back in, you can also use this for that. Now, let's put all that to one side and let's go straight in for the LED strip. And I actually found this quite peculiar about this, and anybody of a certain age will know full well what I'm talking about. This is the same moulding as a cine reel. Now, if you remember cine cameras, and we've actually put out a couple of videos here on the channel, some old cine film. They used one of these reels to spool the actual film back up, and they were made of a rigid plastic. This is quite a flimsy plastic, but this is very much the same spindle and design as a cine reel, and it just tickled me to see that clearly they're recycling unused injection moulding tooling, and I guess as well that they can use this standard fitting to put these on and then spool things onto them. So it's a really, really great and innovative idea. They come with just a little piece of masking tape to stop them from unwinding, and you can see there that this end we've already got fitted a 5-pin plug. The LEDs themselves, we've got a variety of surface mounted here, and some of these are for the bright white, some of these are the colour changing LEDs. Now it appears that you can't have both on at the same time, it's one or the other. And you can see here that we've got these strips where each of these individual pieces is joined together, and they do come in this roll ready joined, but you can actually cut across there and these LEDs will still work. You can solder a feed into these, and you can put these somewhere else if you're really clever. It does mean that you can carefully use some of these strips inside a building, and one area where I was thinking that these might go down quite well, certainly with their demo flashing mode, is you could actually make a disco. And so from the outside you'd see all of the lights flashing, or maybe a karaoke night at a pub. There are things that you can do quite imaginatively with these. They're also great for sticking up, say, in a hidden fiddle yard, and I will ultimately use this spare reel to finally illuminate my fiddle yard and be able to see just what's down there. Now you can just peel this off, it's all just wound in here, and you do get a minimum of 5 meters here. This plug on the end is to plug into the power supply, so I've got that here. I'm just going to slide it out, and it does also come with actually quite a powerful sticky pad, double-sided sticky pad, which you can stick to the underside of this for positioning. There's also 2 little screw mounts as well. You don't get screws with it, but they're quite easy to find something. And this is where we plug the power in. Coming out from these, there are 2 different power connectors. This one is unused in this kit. I can only assume that this is also used in a different kit, and it just made sense to have one power unit between 2 different products. The one we're interested in is this, and if we find the end of this, we can just plug that in, and they're just pins that line up, not unlike plugging in a 6-pin DCC decoder. On the other end of this, just easily a case of plugging this in and plugging this to the wall. Now, just having a look at this, it is a 24 watt output at 12 volts, but the entire strip, one strip is not going to pull that. I've got 2 strips wired together and it all works perfectly. And whilst the instructions don't say what the maximum number of strips is that you can wire together, it is suggested that actually several is absolutely fine. They don't really draw a huge amount. The instructions are fairly basic, so we've got a brief description of what's going on with the remote control, and for most of what you would use these for in a model railway environment, most of this is superfluous. One important thing is you want to make sure that you don't just leave them on the reel when you power them up, because it will overheat them. There is on the just on the remote control, which is hidden away in here, it does come with the battery already in, and we just have to pull out this little tab. I'm going to leave that one in because I'm actually already making full use of this one from another kit, so I'm just going to leave that as a spare. So I've gone ahead and I've plugged in the power lead. I'm going to plug that in. One thing I have noticed with this is that the lead will plug in both ways up, but it will only work with it in one particular way round. Now there is an arrow on both sides, which is not very helpful. So it's really just a case of trial and error. It doesn't appear to damage it if you plug the LEDs in the wrong way round. But there we are. Right, so we've got all that plugged in. And we're going to take the remote control and we need to point it at this box, turn it on. And those are the white lights, but the color changing lights. So that's blue. It's probably not showing up quite so well on the camera. That's green, red, and you could model your layout with a sunrise effect quite readily with this. We do have many iterations of the colors. You can see here we can work our way through different greens as well. So you could actually pick lighting to match whatever time of year that you want, or even if you have, say, a US outline layout or a Swiss layout or something like that, you can change the lighting to match. Now some of these, like demo modes, they just kind of cycle through the different colors. You can have them so they jump. That's great for a disco effect, I guess. Fades is just more of a mood thing. Flash, it goes on and off. And there's a few different things that you can try, but to be honest, I find a lot of that a little bit gimmicky. So the bottom half of the remote controller, that is a different set of LEDs. So if I turn those on, you can see that we've got this really, really bright LEDs, and all they do is white. But I like the fact that you can have them on 100%. So one of the problems I'm finding here is that we've got a bit of a strobing effect creeping in on the camera. So I'm just going to shield that, and I'm going to turn it down to 25%, and that's a lot better. So we've got different brightness levels, so 50%, 75%, 100%, and I can see on my screen, I don't know whether it's picking it up, that we're getting a lot of strobing effect on that. You can also turn the brightness up and down by small increments. And when you're done, it's just simply a case of turning them off. As I said before, it's one or the other. So you can't have both the color change and the brilliant white ones on at the same time. When it comes to fastening this to things, it does come with this sticky back. So just very carefully a case of peeling off the backing. Can take just a couple of trials to get the backing to separate. So that just peels off to reveal a sticky back. You want to make sure that whatever you're sticking to is squeaky clean. But I've actually found this to slowly peel off. I wasn't impressed by the sticky. So what I actually did was I used the sticky for initial placement, and then I used a couple of plain old drawing pins. And whatever you do, do not stick this through the strip. Instead, what I did was, and I'll show you on my little board here, pin to the side, just push that in, pin on the other side, and you can just push those in very carefully until they don't nip up on the strip but just hold it secure, and that stops it from falling off. And I've done this behind the purlins just to make sure that this strip isn't going anywhere. When it comes to joining the strip, now I don't want to cut apart these, but you can see there's a little scissors icon there, and you can just see where the different bits of the strip are joined, and you just cut down there and you can separate the strip. These do accept solder. I recommend the DCC Concepts No Clean Solder Flux and their S179 solder, and it's really easy to solder to these without any issues whatsoever. And you can see that these are at regular intervals throughout the reel. So all in all, this for me is a really great product, and I can't recommend it more highly. We've got a link down below that takes you to Wilkinson's in the UK. So if you are in the UK, you can either get it by just walking into a branch of Wilkinson's, or you can have it posted out mail order, but they do charge for the postage. At present, these are being retailed at £15 a reel, but you can also follow that link if you're in a country other than the UK, just so that you can see what it is that you're looking for. And I'd wager that these are available badged up for a number of other retailers, because they're just too useful to only be sold by Wilkinson's. Well, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and if you do, don't forget to tickle that like button, share it too, and subscribe to the channel to be the first to know about new videos as and when they go up. We've also got a link in the description box down below that takes you to Wilkinson's in the UK. Now, I know that a lot of you guys are in the US, Canada, India, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, all over the world, so Wilkinson's might be a bit of an alien name to you. But if you go and have a look at the specs at Wilkinson's, it may be that you can identify a locally produced and sold product that does exactly what this does in your country too. You can also find our Patreon link, and this is a great way of helping to support the channel to keep making the videos that you want to see. And of course, we've got all of our unique merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, die-cut stickers, mugs, and of course my books too. So thank you very much for watching. It's been great to see you, and you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling. Bye for now. Today's video is sponsored by Train-O-Matic, makers of DCC decoders designed to be fully compatible with every manufacturer's locomotive. Visit train-o-matic.com to browse the full range and see what they've got suitable for you. Today's video also comes with the support of PD Models, makers of a whole range of 3D printed kits and accessory detailing that brings something special to your model layout. Available in a number of different scales and gauges, this range is sure to have something for you, so check them out at the affiliate link down below to see what they have got today to make your model layout something special. PD Models are also well known for their museum quality models that can be made bespoke to order, so do contact them if you have some specific requirements and see if they can do something special for you. I'd like to send out a huge thanks to everybody who supports me on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Offshore Allen, oorail.co.uk, Michael Lockie, Helen Sink, Brian and Dorothy Mudd, Gary Lewis, David Quinn, Sparky107107, George Botterini, Chris Moss, Robert Steers, MD of San Juan Model Company and Grantline Products, Sam Yates, Dale Williams, John N. from NC, NYMRish, Jonathan Foster, Peter, Graham Foster, Clifford Ison, Larry W. Grant, NI Railways 4000 class, Ian Coulson, and Alan Dickerson. Thank you. Without you guys, I couldn't do this.